South Korea's constitutional court in the coming hour will rule on whether to dismiss or reinstate President Yoon after his martial law order last year triggered the National Assembly's impeachment motion against him. We connect with our correspondent Oh Soo-young at the court. Soo-young, aren't we less than an hour away from the ruling? Now, it seems relatively quiet today there.
Hi, Tabby. Yes, I'm at the Constitutional Court, where it seems relatively quiet to other days, but there's a thick atmosphere of tension, as today there are extra layers of police lines, vehicles and metal barriers, keeping this place heavily fortified. That's because as of 11 a.m, the 8-member bench will be taking their seats in the main courtroom with Acting Chief Justice Moon Young-bae at the centre. He will then declare the start of the ruling, which would hopefully bring an end to the months-long constitutional battle between the executive and the legislature. Following President Yoon's martial law declaration in December of last year, the National Assembly passed an impeachment motion against him, accusing Yoon of declaring and conducting martial law illegally, disrupting the nation's constitutional order by deploying troops to parliament and state institutions, and attempting to arrest political and judicial figures. Meanwhile, Yoon stated that declaring martial law is an executive right of the president, and his hand was forced by the majority-led National Assembly's legislative abuses, budget cuts and sabotage against the government. The ruling itself now, it's going to be delivered by the Acting Chief Justice, but we don't know when he will reveal the final decision reached by the bench. But the order of which he delivers the verdict may actually offer some early clues. Based on the past cases that we've seen so far, if the justice shares the reasoning for the verdict first, it usually means there's been a unanimous decision. In former President Park Geun-hye's case in 2017, where the court unanimously agreed on her impeachment, the reading of the ruling took around 25 minutes. But if the final judgment is stated first, then it suggests a split decision with various justices sharing dissenting or concurring opinions. Now, that's what we saw last month during the ruling on Prime Minister Han Duck-soo's impeachment. So the style of the ruling is actually at the court's discretion, so we'll have to see if the bench follows these practices. If 6 or more of the justices determine that even one of the grounds for impeachment constitutes a serious violation of the Constitution, President Yoon will be removed from office. The verdict takes immediate legal effect the moment it's read aloud, coming 111 days after the case began. Now, President Yoon himself will not be attending the court session, considering the logistics and security complications involved. So he's likely to be watching from his official residence, as it's all broadcast live. Now, at the court today, 20 public gallery seats are open to members of the public, and an online lottery saw over 96,000 people register for a spot, meaning the rate of competition was 4,800 to 1.
So the fate of the president and the nation hangs in the balance of the Constitutional Court's decision on his impeachment today. Soo-young, walk us through the possible scenarios.
Right. Well, if the court upholds the impeachment, then President Yoon will become the nation's second leader in history to be removed from office following President Park Geun-hye's removal from power in 2017. So the scenario would be, in this case, his removal effective immediately. So Prime Minister Han Duck-soo would continue as acting president until an early election is held within 60 days. Yoon would vacate his office for good and leave the official residence in Yongsan-gu district. As a removed president, he would lose all post-presidential privileges, no pension, no office, no staff support, and no burial rights at the National Cemetery. Only basic personal security would remain. But on the flip side, if the impeachment is dismissed with prejudice, President Yoon would retain his status and immediately resume his duties. He'd then go back to his presidential office to make a public address, and his first tasks are expected to focus on foreign policy and engagement with the United States. He may also begin laying out proposals for constitutional and political reform, as pledged during his final court appearance. With his impeachment case closed for good, Yoon, however, still would face investigations regarding his December 3rd martial law declaration, but during his presidency would be immune from charges other than for treason and insurrection. Now, a third scenario is the court dismissing the case without prejudice, or simply put, dropping the case for now due to legal or procedural issues. The president would return to office, but the National Assembly could reattempt impeachment in the future. So whatever the outcome might be today, it will bring an end to the months of uncertainty and hopefully amount to a constructive step forward for a mature Korean democracy.
Of course. Thank you, Soo-young. We'll talk again when the ruling is out, of course.